Welcome, everyone. Long before cities and lights, people gathered just like this to share what the dark couldn't swallow. Today, we are going to talk about something that many feel but few admit out loud. What happens when everything feels empty? When you have the job, the routine, the structure, but inside there is nothing, no fire, no purpose. Why does this emptiness come? And more important, what do you do when it shows up at your door? If you have felt this way, stay with me, because in the next 30 minutes we are going to walk through the void together and find the way back to meaning. Let me start with a story about a man named Daniel. He worked in finance for almost 7 years. Good salary, clean apartment, in a decent neighborhood. People around him thought he had it all figured out. His colleagues envied his stability. His family was proud. But every morning, when Daniel woke up, he felt like he was carrying a rock in his chest. The alarm went off. He stood up. He went through the motions like a machine. Coffee, shower, emails, meetings, lunch at his desk, more emails, dinner alone. One evening, his friend, Marcus, asked him over a beer, "Are you happy?" Daniel opened his mouth to say, "Yes." But the words stuck in his throat like a stone. He realized in that moment he did not know the answer. That night he sat in his car after work for almost an hour. Engine off, staring at the rain on the windshield. The question would not leave him alone. What am I even doing? Why does none of this feel real anymore? This is the beginning of emptiness. It does not arrive with a crash or a dramatic breakdown. It arrives quietly, like fog rolling in while you sleep. You wake up one day and realize you have been moving forward for years, but you do not remember why you started. The goals you used to chase feel distant and disconnected. The things that excited you once feel flat and colorless. And the worst part is, you look around and everyone else seems fine. They seem full of energy, direction, passion, purpose. So you start to think, what is wrong with me? Why can't I feel what they feel? But here is what most people do not tell you, and this is important. Feeling lost is not a flaw in your character. It is not a sign that you failed at life. It is not proof that you are broken or weak. It is a signal from somewhere deep inside that says, something needs to change. The life you are living does not match the person you have become. But we have been taught to fear this feeling. We have been told that uncertainty is dangerous, that not knowing your purpose means you are failing. So we do what we have been trained to do. We fill the emptiness with noise. We scroll through social media for hours. We buy things we do not need. We stay busy, always busy, so we do not have to sit with the silence. But the emptiness does not go away just because you ignore it. In fact, it grows larger. It becomes heavier. It starts affecting everything you do. Let me tell you about another person named Nina. She was a teacher in a public school. She loved her students at first. She felt like she was making a real difference in their lives. But after 5 years, something shifted inside her. The passion faded like a photograph left in the sun. Every day felt the same. The same lessons, the same problems, the same tired conversations in the staff room. She still smiled at her students. She still showed up on time. But inside, she felt like a shell of the person she used to be. Her friends noticed something was off. They told her, "You are just burned out. Take a vacation." So she did exactly that. She went to the coast for a full week. A beautiful place. Quiet beaches, peaceful sunsets. She tried to relax. She tried to feel something. But when she came back home, the emptiness was still there, waiting for her at the door like an old friend she never invited. Why did the vacation not help? Because emptiness is not about your schedule or how much rest you get. It is not about how much fun you have or how many places you visit. Emptiness comes when your life stops matching who you really are deep down. When you are living for reasons you do not believe in anymore. When the path you are walking was chosen by someone else, or by a version of you that no longer exists. Nina realized this one quiet afternoon when a student asked her, "Why did you become a teacher?" She gave the usual answer without thinking, "To help young people grow and discover their potential." But later that night, alone in her apartment, she asked herself the same question again, and this time she could not answer it honestly. The truth was she had become a teacher because her mother was a teacher, because it seemed like a safe choice, because she did not know what else to do with her degree. She never asked herself what she truly wanted from life. That moment of brutal honesty changed everything for Nina. This is the first real step out of emptiness. Stop pretending everything is fine. Stop trying to convince yourself and others that you have it all together. Admit the truth out loud. I feel lost right now. I do not know my purpose. I do not know what I am doing here, and that is okay. In fact, it is more than okay. It is the beginning of something real. Because you cannot find your way forward if you refuse to admit you are lost. You cannot build something new if you keep pretending the old structure is still standing. Now let's talk about what emptiness actually is at its core. Many people think it is the absence of emotion or feeling, but that is not quite right. Emptiness is the absence of connection. Connection to yourself, connection to others, connection to something bigger than your daily routine. When you feel empty, you are disconnected from what matters. You go through life like a passenger in a car, not the driver. Things happen to you. You react to them. You survive each day. But you do not feel alive. You do not feel present. And here is the tricky part that confuses many people. You can have people around you and still feel completely disconnected. You can be in a relationship and feel profoundly alone. You can have hobbies and activities and still feel hollow inside. Because connection is not about what you do or who is physically near you. It is about presence. It is about showing up fully with your real self, not the version you think others want to see. Let me give you a third story that shows this clearly. There was a man named Marcus. He had a wife he loved, 2 kids, a stable job with benefits. On paper, his life looked full and complete, but inside, Marcus felt like a ghost moving through his own house. He went to work every morning. He came home every evening. He played with his kids for 10 minutes, then zoned out in front of the television. His wife tried to talk to him about her day, but he gave short answers and distant looks. He was there in body, but he was not really there in spirit. One night, his 6-year-old daughter came up to him during dinner and asked him with serious eyes, "Daddy, are you okay?" He said yes automatically. "Of course, honey." But she kept looking at him with those big, concerned eyes and said something that hit him like a physical blow. "You seem far away, like you are not really here with us." That simple observation from a child broke something open inside Marcus. His 6-year-old daughter saw what he had been hiding from everyone, including himself, for months. He was far away. He had disconnected from his own life, not because he did not love his family, not because he did not care, but because he had disconnected from himself first. And when you lose connection with yourself, you lose connection with everything else too. The emptiness spreads like water through cracks. So Marcus made a decision that night. He did not quit his job. He did not run away from his responsibilities. He did something much simpler, but much harder. He started asking himself one question every single morning before the day began: what matters to me today? Not what should matter according to society, not what used to matter 5 years ago. What matters right now, in this exact moment, to the person I am today? At first, the answers were small and simple. Spending 10 real minutes with my daughter without checking my phone. Listening to my wife without thinking about work problems. Going for a walk outside without any goal or destination. These were not big life-changing goals, but they were real. They were his. They came from inside him, not from outside expectations. And slowly, over weeks and months, Marcus started to feel something shift inside his chest. The emptiness did not disappear overnight like magic, but it got smaller. It became manageable because he was building connection again, brick by brick, choice by choice. Now, here's the practical tool I want to give you today. It is simple to understand, but it requires discipline to practice. I call it the clarity pause. Here is exactly how it works. Every morning, before you start your busy day, sit somewhere quiet for 5 full minutes. No phone in your hand, no distractions around you, just you and your thoughts. And ask yourself 3 specific questions. Write them down if it helps. First question, what matters to me today? Not in general or in theory. Today specifically. Second question, what am I avoiding right now? What truth am I not looking at? What uncomfortable reality am I running from? Third question, what one small action can I take today that feels true to who I really am? Write down your honest answers. They do not have to be perfect or profound. They do not have to sound impressive. Just honest. Do this practice for 7 days straight. By day 3, you will start to notice patterns emerging. You will see what activities drain your energy and what gives you life. You will see where you are pretending to be someone else and where you are being real. By day 7, you will have a much clearer picture of what needs to change in your life. And here's the most important part of this whole process. Do not wait for a big dramatic revelation. Do not wait until you figure out your grand life purpose written in the stars. Purpose is not something you find like a hidden treasure. It is something you build with your hands, one honest choice at a time, one real action after another. Let me tell you what happened to Daniel, Nina, and Marcus after they started this journey. Daniel kept his finance job for 6 more months. While he explored other options, he started volunteering at an animal shelter on weekends. Not because it was his lifelong passion, just because it was something real and different, something outside his normal routine. He worked with dogs that had been abandoned. 6 months later, he made a big decision. He changed careers completely. He became a veterinary assistant. He makes significantly less money now than before. His old colleagues think he is crazy. But when you talk to Daniel today, you can see something different in his eyes. They are alive again. They have light in them. He feels connected to his work. Nina eventually left teaching after 2 more difficult years. It was not an easy decision. People judged her harshly. Her mother was disappointed. But Nina started working with a community garden project in her neighborhood. She teaches kids and adults about growing their own food. It is smaller work than teaching in a big school. It is messier and less prestigious, but it feels like hers. It feels true. And that makes all the difference in the world. Marcus is still at the same job he had before, still with the same family in the same house. But something fundamental changed inside him. He is present now in his own life. He knows what matters to him. He protects those things fiercely. He says no to projects that pull him away from his real priorities. And his daughter does not ask if he is okay anymore. She knows he is here. She can feel it. These 3 stories are not about dramatic transformations or complete life overhauls. They are about small but consistent choices. Choices to stop drifting and start steering. To stop reacting automatically and start responding consciously. To stop hiding behind masks and start showing up as yourself. So let me ask you something directly. What is one area of your life where you are going through the motions right now? Where you are present in body but completely absent in spirit? Maybe it is your job that feels meaningless. Maybe it is a relationship that has become automatic. Maybe it is how you spend your evenings. Scrolling through content that does not feed your soul. Whatever it is, that specific area is your starting point. That is where the emptiness is trying to tell you something important. Important. Listen to it carefully. Do not run from it with distractions. Do not fill it with noise and busyness. Sit with it, like you would sit with an old friend. Ask it honest questions. What do you need from me? What am I missing here? What part of myself have I left behind? The answers will come to you eventually. Not all at once in a dramatic revelation, not in a flash of lightning from the sky, but they will come quietly, like dawn breaking slowly over the horizon. And when they do arrive, you must act on them. Take one small step toward truth, then another step, then another, because purpose is not a destination you reach. and then stop. It is a direction you choose with every decision you make. It is a practice, not a prize. Now let me give you a detailed plan you can actually follow. Today, before you go to sleep, do the clarity pause I described earlier. Sit for 5 full minutes in silence. Ask yourself those 3 questions honestly. What matters to me today? What am I avoiding? What one small action can I take that feels true? Write down your answers somewhere you can find them tomorrow. In 3 days from now, look back at what you wrote on each of those 3 mornings. Notice what themes repeat themselves. Notice what surprises you about your own answers. Notice what scares you a little bit. That fear you feel is actually a sign you are getting close to something real and important. In 7 days, take one concrete action based on what you learned from this week of reflection. One honest action that moves you closer to connection, closer to presence, closer to the person you actually are, not the person you think you should be according to others. And then keep going with this practice. This is not a one-time fix that solves everything forever. This is a daily practice, a daily choice to stay connected to yourself, to stay awake in your own life, to stay real, even when pretending would be easier, because emptiness does not come from a lack of external things. It does not come from not having enough money or success or relationships. It comes from a lack of internal truth. When you stop living your truth, when you stop being yourself, the void begins to grow inside you. But when you start living your truth again, even in very small ways, the void begins to fill naturally, not with noise or distraction or temporary pleasure, but with presence, with meaning, with actual life. Let me share one more story that ties everything together. There was a woman named Sarah who felt completely lost at age 38. She had done everything right according to society's rules. Good education, stable career in marketing, respectable relationship, but she felt dead inside. Every day was gray. She went through her routine like a robot following programming. One weekend, she decided to visit her childhood home in another city. While cleaning out the attic with her mother, she found an old box of her things from high school. Inside were dozens of drawings and paintings she had made as a teenager. She had completely forgotten about them. As she looked through those old artworks, something stirred inside her chest. She remembered how alive she used to feel when she was creating something with her hands. How time would disappear when she was lost in the process. How connected she felt to herself in those moments. She had stopped making art in college because everyone told her it was not practical. She needed a real career, they said. So she buried that part of herself and chose marketing instead. That weekend, Sarah bought a small set of watercolors and paper. Nothing fancy or expensive. She did not tell anyone about it because she felt embarrassed. The next evening, after work, instead of watching television, she sat at her kitchen table and painted for 30 minutes. It was not good. Her skills were rusty after 20 years, but something happened inside her during those 30 minutes. She felt present. She felt alive. She felt like herself again. Sarah kept painting a few times each week. After 3 months, she joined a local art group that met on Thursday evenings. After 6 months, she started sharing her work online. After a year, she was selling small pieces at local markets. She did not quit her marketing job. She still needed the income and stability, but now her life had balance. She had reconnected with a part of herself she thought was dead. The emptiness did not vanish completely, but it became much smaller and more manageable. This is what I want you to understand deeply. Finding purpose is not about making one giant dramatic change that transforms everything overnight. It is about reconnecting with the parts of yourself you left behind somewhere along the way. It is about bringing those parts back into your daily life, even in small doses. It is about making room for what feels true, even when it seems impractical or embarrassing. Let me talk about another common trap people fall into when they feel empty. They think they need to discover some grand, unique purpose that will change the world. They put enormous pressure on themselves to find their one true calling. But this kind of thinking actually makes the emptiness worse. Because most of us do not have one single purpose. We have many purposes that change and evolve as we grow. Your purpose at 20 might be very different from your purpose at 40. Your purpose in one season of life might be to build stability and security. Your purpose in another season might be to explore and create. Your purpose might be as simple as being present for your children, or as complex as building a business that serves others, or as quiet as tending a garden that brings you peace. Oh, gosh, none of these purposes is better or more important than the others. What matters is whether it feels true to you right now, whether it connects you to yourself and to life, whether it makes you feel present instead of absent. So stop looking for the one perfect purpose written in the stars with your name on it. Instead, ask yourself what brings you alive today. What makes you feel connected? What makes time disappear? What makes you feel like yourself? And then do more of that. Whatever it is, build your purpose, one honest choice at a time. Now I want to address something important that stops many people from taking action: fear of judgment from others. When you start making changes to reconnect with yourself, people will notice, and some of them will not understand. Some will think you are being selfish or irresponsible. Some will tell you to be realistic and practical. Some will project their own fears onto you. This is normal and expected. Remember that most people are living disconnected lives themselves. When they see you trying to reconnect, it reminds them of their own emptiness. It makes them uncomfortable, so they try to pull you back into the safe zone of disconnection where they are. Do not let their fears stop you from finding your truth. You do not need their permission to live authentically. You do not need their approval to reconnect with yourself. You only need your own courage to take one small step and then another. At the same time, be wise about how you share your journey. You do not need to announce every change you make. You do not need to explain yourself to everyone. Some things are sacred and private. Protect your emerging truth like you would protect a small flame from the wind. Share it only with people who have earned your trust, who support your growth, who want you to be alive, not just comfortable. Let me also talk about what happens when you start reconnecting with yourself. Life does not suddenly become easy or perfect. You will still face challenges and difficulties. You will still have bad days. You will still feel uncertain sometimes. But there is a crucial difference. When you are connected to yourself, you face these challenges from a place of presence and strength. When you are disconnected, you face them from a place of emptiness and weakness. Connected, you can bend without breaking. Disconnected, you shatter at the first real pressure. Connected, you make choices that align with who you are. Disconnected, you make choices based on fear and external expectations. Connected, you feel alive even in difficult moments. Disconnected, you feel dead even in supposedly good moments. This is why reconnecting with yourself is not a luxury or a bonus. It is the foundation of everything else. Without connection to yourself, nothing else in your life will feel right, no matter how successful you become by external measures. With connection to yourself, even simple, ordinary moments become meaningful and rich. So here's who you are now. After everything we have talked about today, you are someone who has felt the emptiness and did not turn away from it. You are someone who is willing to ask yourself hard questions and sit with uncomfortable answers. You are someone who understands that purpose is not something you find written in a book. It is something you build with your daily choices. You are someone who knows that reconnecting with yourself is the most important work you can do. You are no longer drifting through life on autopilot, hoping things will somehow get better. You are steering now. You are making conscious choices. You are showing up. You are no longer reacting automatically to whatever life throws at you. You are responding from a place of presence and awareness. You are choosing your direction. You are no longer hiding behind masks and pretending everything is fine. You are here in your own life. You are real. You are awake. And that changes everything, even if the external circumstances stay the same for now. Remember that emptiness is not your enemy. It is a messenger trying to tell you something important. It is saying, wake up, come back, reconnect, be yourself again. Listen to that message with respect. Thank it for showing you where you need to focus your attention. And then take action, one small step at a time. You do not need to have everything figured out. You do not need a perfect plan. You just need to start. Start with 5 minutes of honest reflection. Start with one small action that feels true. Start with one conversation that matters. Start with one choice that aligns with who you really are. And then keep starting day after day until starting becomes your natural way of living. Until presence becomes your default mode. Until connection becomes your foundation. This is the path out of emptiness and into meaning. Not through grand gestures or dramatic transformations, but through small, consistent, honest choices that bring you back to yourself. If this message helped you see your situation more clearly today, subscribe and come back tomorrow. We will keep building this path together, step by step, choice by choice, until living with presence and purpose becomes your natural strength. Stay awake to your own life. Stay real with yourself and others. Stay connected to what matters and carry your truth forward into every day, every choice, every moment.